So I've recently seen this video with someone that made this big revelation about how much credit card debt they have. And it was really, really, really impactful. And I want to share with you guys and give you guys my comments and my thoughts. And at the same time, check out her original video below down in the description. Let's get to the video.
Y'all, it's Nina. Welcome for those of you who are new. Welcome back for those of you who know me already. I wanted to do this video because I'm kind of tired of hiding things. I'm tired of carrying this weight. So let me just go ahead and let me go ahead and put it out there. I have $35,000 in credit card debt, and I'm smiling. I'm laughing to keep from crying, but it really sucks. And it didn't all come from being irresponsible and buying shoes and clothes and bags and trips. Yeah, I bought some of those things, but in reality, it really just came from me mismanaging my income and relying on credit cards for emergencies.
Now, Nina, I'm going to tell you this. A lot of people, especially during these times, are making that same mistake. A lot of people forego saving an emergency fund, right, to build up an emergency fund, and they use credit cards for emergencies. Now, growing up, I remember my parents used to always tell me that, like, a credit card is for emergencies, right? They never said, a savings account, an emergency fund is for emergencies. It always was credit cards is for emergencies. And now we're getting into a time where so many people use credit cards, either A, because they truly need an emergency and they don't make enough, or they just need the instant gratification and they need to go shopping and go balling. You admitting that you have $35,000 is amazing, right? $35,000 worth of debt is something that, yes, it sucks and it's horrifying, but coming to the realization that you made this mistake and you're going to clean it up is one of the first steps that everyone needs to take, because the majority of people, they start with 10,000 and they know 10,000 is enough, but they don't want to pay attention to it. They keep on going and going until the point is you're using now credit cards with ridiculous rates like Credit One and these weird ass credit cards until a point where you maxing out all the cards, and then when you apply for another card, you get denied, and then you have to face reality. So that little $10,000 credit card debt you might have had that was way more easier to handle, now would like multiplied 10 times because you didn't come to realization. So even though you're saying it's $35,000 and woof, that is a lot, there's people who have plenty or more. And at least you recognize it now and you're addressing it.
So I just want to talk a little bit about that, a little bit about how I basically became addicted to credit cards. And I don't even use credit cards now. It's been 4 years since I stopped really using credit cards. But the sad part is that I am still paying for those mistakes that I've made. So I just want to talk a little bit about that and just get this out there for anybody who is in the same boat and feels a lot of shame about it.
Now, that is the by far the shame that you get from with credit cards is the fact that you're paying for stuff that you probably had 4 or 5 years ago and you don't even have it to this day. So you're paying for all your past mistakes, and every time you go to work, every month you need to go ahead and send them a payment. All that interest that you're paying, all that money that you're paying, and is lingering. Now, 4 years is a very long time to continue paying off your credit cards. That is a very long time. Now that's cool that she's not using it anymore, but 4 years is, you need to have a plan by that time, right? You definitely need to have either the Dave Ramsey snowball method or the avalanche, but you certainly need to have a plan to pay those cards off. 4 years is a very long time. Now, I understand there's so many things that happen in life. It gets difficult, but having that linger continuously is devastating. It truly is devastating. I would say at least in 1 year with $36,000, obviously depends on how much money she's making. I would say at least try to get rid of half of it. Now, I know there's people out there that are going to say, get rid of the whole thing in 6 months. I get it. But the reality is, not that many people could go like gazelle intense. Not that many people have the time after work to do all these crazy side hustles. Some people still want to enjoy life, right? But at the same time, and you could too, you can enjoy life, but at the same time, have a plan to pay off that debt as fast as possible. You certainly need to do that because 4 years is a very long time. It could go even longer than that if you don't handle it right now.
I'll just say too, like, if you're somebody that, has always used less than 30% of your cards, if you've always paid everything off every month, that's amazing. Congratulations. But a lot of us didn't grow up like that. A lot of us grew up with very different messages or no message at all about how we should use credit. And so this is for those people.
Yeah, I'm one of them. I'm one of them. So the message that she's putting out there, let me tell you something, man. I know it sounds like you should all know this, right? Because once you start learning about finance, you're like, oh, everybody should know this. But man, if you sit back and you think about your childhood and where you grew up, they just don't talk about that. Like, think about it. How many of us had our parents or a high school teacher or anyone in general, or even a friend telling you, hey, I saw you just took out a visa, right? Make sure it's below 30% because if not, it's going to impact you this way. It's going to explain to you the impact it could have on the credit score. No one tells you that at all. And once you don't know that information and you already spending way more than 30%, it's like that's what you do. That's your lifestyle. Your lifestyle is always spending more than 30%. Now they have so much information out there that could help you. Like now we know. But the problem is it's already too late for most people. Their balances already blew up and now they're way above that. Credit score is taking a hit because obviously that impacts your credit score. But that conversation in households, it's not a thing. And I mean, I'm even thinking about it. Like, even if you grew up in a household where financial literacy was a thing, I just like I can't even imagine someone explaining that to you at a young age. Right now, I'm even one of them, right? With my son, I never really sat down and had that conversation with him. I'm going to in the future. I'm seeing all these videos now, and I'm like, damn, I gotta have this conversation with him. And just kind of like, you just don't think about stuff like that. But I am gonna have a conversation with my son as well, because of this video, and I'm gonna let him know how important it is to stay below 30%, and not just that piece of information, but in general, like a credit card is a tool, and credit card debt is not a good thing. Credit card usage is, but credit card debt is not a good thing. I won't even, now that I think about it, I won't even tell him about the 30%. I'm gonna tell him, listen, zero, okay? Pay that thing off at the end of the month. If you can't, don't even touch it.
My first memory of credit and the way that credit got into my psyche was through the movie Clueless. So that came out in 95 when I was 9. So Cher and Dion would go to the mall and they would spend their daddy's money and everything would be put on credit. And I remember thinking, wow, they're so cool. They're 15, they're 16, they're so glamorous. I want to be like that. So that was my first memory of credit and like the power of credit and how it gave you access to this fun and fabulous life. And so I remember being in the 7th grade. I was sitting in history class, supposed to be watching a movie, not paying attention. I had a sheet of paper in front of me. At the top, I put $25,000 credit card. And then I listed out all the things that I would buy from the Delia's and J. Crew and East Bay catalogs. If y'all grew up in the 90s, you remember that. That was a fun time.
I grew up in the 90s and I remember East Bay. Oh my Lord. I think they actually recently, I couldn't even believe this, they shut down a few years ago, which I thought they were shut down since like the early 2000s. I really, wow, she brought it back when she said East Bay. But I'm going to tell you something she said that's really important. That's the problem where you need to have like financial literacy in these conversations because it shows you the power of social media, but also the power in the things that you're watching. Right in the 90s, social media wasn't around like as big as it is now, but just shows you things that you watch and how it influences. You're like, man, I wish I could go out and go shopping and do all these things, right? And she got that from watching Clueless. I've never heard anyone say that, but it does make a lot of sense how someone like her could see that movie and just get like influenced by that lifestyle and thinking, man, I could do that. To a point where she wrote down, she said in the 7th grade, a $25,000 credit card limit and what she would do. So of course, as soon as she had a credit card, that's the first thing she did. Especially no one gave her the education about financial literacy. The first thing she did was open up the credit card and buy the things that she always, wanted to have. And that just shows you guys how powerful this social media as well. You may think you're controlling your life, but you're not. There are a lot of things out there, guys, with consumerism and marketing. They're really good at what they do, extremely good at what they do. That's why you gotta be really careful when you think, I'm cheating the system, you're getting away with it. No. These banks, they're not stupid. These credit card companies, they're not stupid, right? These businesses, they're not stupid. They know exactly what they're doing. They give you a little taste, get you hooked. Next thing you know, you're spending all your money on credit, and it will ruin you. And then a 9 to 5 goes for something from learning, excelling, sharpening your skills, to a prison sentence. Something that you need to go in, day out, start paying back credit card companies, and then life gets a whole lot more miserable, right? I mean, you're already dealing with inflation, you're already dealing with possibly losing your job and layoffs, but now on top of that, there's one thing that you were able to control and you didn't, which was having debt. But anyway, Nina, you got this. You're coming out here, you're being vulnerable, you're discussing this, but I want to let you know you're not alone. There's so many people out there that are going through the same thing that you're going through. So it is cool to let people know that they're not alone. Because a lot of people think that what they're going through is something that no one else is going through. And a lot of times they're like, well, you know what, if I'm in debt and everyone else is in debt and they're traveling and doing everything, well, I could do that. No, 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 no. Being responsible is boring and it sucks. But I'm gonna tell you this, is nothing worse than being broke. Nothing worse than being broke. Guys, drop a comment down below. And at the same time, once again, watch her video. I'm leaving in the description. Hit the like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Catch you guys in my next video. Peace.